He left me because I couldn't give him a child. But the real punchline, the baby he bragged about wasn't even his. My name is Natalie Green, and for 5 years I believed that my body had betrayed me, that I was the reason our marriage collapsed, that I was broken. But now I know better. I wasn't the problem, he was. And the universe, it had a wicked sense of humor, because it made sure the truth came back around in the most brutal way. Darren and I were married young, fresh out of college, full of big dreams and Pinterest plans. We had a modest little home, stable jobs, and a plan to start trying for kids before we turned 30. At first, it was exciting. We picked names, painted a nursery, started watching baby vlogs like it was homework. But month after month, nothing. Negative tests, late periods, false hopes. And soon, the warmth between us turned cold. Darren changed. He stopped touching me, started sleeping on the couch to reduce pressure. He said things like, "You just need to relax more. Your body isn't cooperating. Maybe motherhood just isn't your path." I begged him to go to a specialist with me, but he refused, said the issue had to be me. "It's not like it runs in my family," he muttered once. I didn't argue, I just went alone. I remember sitting in that sterile office, terrified, but when the results came back, the doctor smiled. "Natalie, there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfectly fertile." I stared at her in shock. "But," he said. She handed me the report and said gently, "Sometimes men assume, but you have proof now." I didn't show Darren the report right away. I wanted to believe that he'd come around, that he still loved me enough to work through it. But instead, he came home one day with divorce papers. "I want a real family," he said flatly. "I deserve a child of my own." He didn't cry, didn't hesitate. He left without even packing his books. The next time I saw him, he was already engaged to someone new. I spent the next 2 years rebuilding. Therapy, new job, new apartment. No dating, no trying, just surviving. But every time I scrolled through social media, his face popped up. Him and Jenna, his perfect blonde wife, smiling, holding hands, pregnancy announcements. I muted everything, except one friend forgot to take me off a group chat. And that's how I found out. It's a boy. I didn't see Darren in person again until 3 years later, at a bookstore of all places. I was flipping through a parenting memoir for my sister, ironically, when I heard his voice behind me. "Funny seeing you here, reading parenting books." I turned. He was holding a toddler's hand. The boy looked just like him, at first glance anyway. "Guess some of us were meant to be parents," he smirked. I froze. My stomach turned. He didn't ask how I was, didn't apologize, just stood there gloating like he'd won. Then he leaned closer and whispered, "I guess you just weren't woman enough." I didn't say anything, but inside me, something cracked, and something else lit on fire. He didn't know that I still had that fertility report. He didn't know I'd kept it all these years, and he definitely didn't know that soon I'd find out something he never saw coming. He said I couldn't give him a child, but when I handed him the DNA results, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. I couldn't sleep that night. His words kept echoing in my head. "You weren't woman enough." The same man who abandoned me was now parading around like some perfect father and using that little boy like a trophy to justify what he did. But deep down, something felt off. Not about the boy. He was just a child. But about Darren, his need to flaunt this new life, The way he leaned in with that smirk. It was too desperate, too rehearsed. A week after that run-in, I bumped into an old mutual friend, Chloe, at a grocery store. She was polite but clearly uncomfortable. I asked how Darren and Jenna were doing. She hesitated, then said, "It's all a bit strange. Jenna's always out with friends and Darren's the one home with the baby most of the time." I pressed gently. Chloe shrugged. I shouldn't say anything, but there were whispers about Jenna seeing someone during their engagement, right around when she got pregnant. That was the first time in years I felt my hands shake, not from sadness but righteous rage. I went home, pulled out the fertility test report from that sealed envelope I'd never opened again, and stared at it. Natalie Green. No abnormalities, no signs of infertility. I had carried that quiet truth for years, but now it was time to make it loud. I began researching, and not obsessively, just methodically. How do paternity tests work? What's legal, what's private, what's not? Then I got lucky. Darren posted a photo on Facebook, him and the baby at a pediatric appointment. In the corner of the photo, you could clearly see a form on the table with the child's full name and date of birth. I zoomed in, screenshotted it. It was all I needed. I contacted a private DNA testing service that confirmed. If you have access to a used pacifier or unwashed baby item, we can test anonymously. I didn't want to do anything illegal, so I did something better. I accidentally ran into Jenna outside a daycare. I had seen the address on a tag in the Facebook photo. I smiled and waved. "Hey, Jenna, right? I'm Natalie, Darren's ex." She blinked, unsure, then nodded politely. "Oh, wow. Hi," I gestured to her son. "He's adorable. What's his name?" She told me. I smiled warmly, then accidentally dropped my keys right in front of her stroller. As I picked them up, I also plucked a tiny baby sock from the grass, one that had fallen near the wheel. "This yours?" I asked, holding it up. She took it with a distracted thank you. But I had a backup plan, because earlier I had seen her toss a pacifier into the public trash bin. I retrieved it after she left, gloved, bagged, sent. 2 weeks later, I got the envelope. I opened it slowly, heart pounding, and there it was, in bold, scientific text. Probability of paternity 0.00%. Darren was not the father. I sat back in my chair, stunned. Not out of disbelief, but out of vindication. He left me, destroyed our marriage, humiliated me in front of our friends, all because he said I was the problem. And now, he'd raised a son for 3 years who didn't even share his blood. I knew exactly what I had to do, but I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't fight. I wouldn't cry. No, I'd let him come to me. And when he did, I'd hand him the same kind of heartbreak he left me drowning in. He said I couldn't be a mother. But the day I handed him the DNA results, it wasn't me who broke. It was him. I waited 1 week before doing anything. A week to let the truth settle in me like armor. To breathe with it. To own it. Then I printed the report. 2 copies. One went into a sleek envelope with Darren's name on it. The other stayed in my purse, just in case. I sent Darren a text. "Can we talk? In person. No drama, just closure." He replied within minutes. "Fine. Coffee shop near Main Street?" I smiled. He thought this was about me chasing him. He had no idea. When I walked into the cafe, he was already there. Perfect posture, designer watch, that smug little half smile he'd always wear when he thought he had the upper hand. "You look well," he said. I nodded. "So do you." Fatherhood suits you." He grinned wider, leaned back in his chair like a king. "It's everything I ever wanted. I just needed the right person, I guess." He said that with a wink, like I was supposed to be the one who lost. I pulled out the envelope and slid it across the table. "Before we go any further, I think you should read this." He opened it, eyes scanning lazily and then stopping cold, his brow furrowed. What is this?" "A DNA test," I said evenly. "For your son." His hands trembled. "Where did you... how?" I cut him off. "He's not yours, Darren. You left me, you blamed me, you made me believe I was broken, but I wasn't. And now, the joke's on you." He stared at the page again, mouth slightly open. He looked up, and for the first time since our divorce, he looked small, afraid. "This can't be right." "Jenna said," I leaned in. "She lied, the way you lied, the way you left." He stood up abruptly, the paper fluttering to the floor. "I need to call her. This is a mistake. It has to be." I remained calm. "I already verified it with 2 labs. Don't bother trying to twist the story, Darren. This is real." He slumped back into the chair, shoulders collapsing in on themselves. "Then whose kid is it?" He wasn't asking me, he was whispering to himself like he'd just watched his identity detonate in real time. And for a moment, I felt nothing but peace. He texted me later that night, long paragraph, apologizing, rambling about confusion, saying he didn't mean to hurt me, that he was just scared, that he wanted a child so badly. I didn't reply. I forwarded the message to my lawyer and blocked the number. 3 days later, I received an email from Jenna. "I know what you did. I don't care. We're happy and you're clearly bitter. You had your chance with him. Now he has a real family." Oh, Jenna, if only you knew your real family was built on lies. And now, I was the one holding the truth. A week after that, Darren showed up at my office. Security called before letting him in. He stood in the lobby holding a crumpled folder in his hand. Inside, his own fertility report. He had finally done the test himself, and it matched what I already knew. He was the infertile one all along. He looked at me through the glass, eyes red, face pale. I didn't go down to meet him. I just turned and walked away. He destroyed our marriage to chase fatherhood, only to find out he was never a father to begin with. And me? I stopped grieving the day I realized I never lost anything worth keeping. I didn't speak to Darren again. The security team escorted him out that day, and that was the last time I saw him face to face. But that wasn't the end of the story, not by a long shot. A week later, Jenna posted a cryptic story on Instagram. "Some people should mind their own uterus." I laughed. Then I screenshotted it and moved on. But Darren, he wasn't doing so well. Rumors started circulating through mutual friends. Jenna had moved out. She was demanding a paternity retest. Then, she deleted all their photos off her social media. I heard through Chloe that Darren tried to deny everything at first, but the tests were undeniable. Eventually, Jenna confessed. She had slept with an old flame one night after a huge fight with Darren, and that's when she got pregnant. She begged him to raise the child anyway. But Darren, who once left me without blinking, suddenly couldn't handle being the one left behind. He spiraled. It was poetic, really. He walked away from a wife who loved him, blamed her for being defective, and married a woman who gave him a child that wasn't his. He had built his new life on top of my supposed failure. But when the foundation cracked, The whole illusion crumbled. As for me, I finally started living again. I went on trips, picked up photography, started volunteering at a foster home. There was something beautiful about giving love where it was needed most. I didn't chase relationships, didn't rush motherhood, because I had stopped defining myself by what I could give someone else. I once drafted a letter to Darren, not to forgive him, not to comfort him, but just to say this: "You didn't ruin me, you revealed me. I thought I needed to be a mother to matter, but I just needed to be free." I never sent it, but I didn't need to, because I had already won. Months later, Chloe called me unexpectedly. "You're not going to believe this," she said. "Darren's suing Jenna for paternity fraud." I blinked. Is that even a thing? Apparently, and he's trying to get custody. But get this, she's pregnant again, and this time she says it's his. We both laughed. "Let me guess," I said. "No test this time either?" "None." I hung up smiling, because for once, I wasn't the one left in confusion. I was clear, whole, powerful. People always ask me if I'll ever tell that little boy the truth when he's older, but that's not my place. My truth is for me, and my future. It no longer belongs to anyone who couldn't see my worth. He said I couldn't give him a child, but what I gave him, that was the reality he never wanted to face. And what I gave myself was the peace of walking away with everything he never had: truth, dignity, and freedom.